Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and my special guest is back, my sis, my best friend.
Click it.
And we're here to talk about the latest episode of Doctor Who, Series 10, Episode 8, The Lie of the Land. And right out of the gate, it was an interesting episode to watch.
It shocked me a few times.
Yeah, a few times over, and it was enjoyable. I'm a little mixed by the end. I'm kind of still not sure, love it or hate certain aspects of it. Overall, I enjoyed it. Of course, as per usual, it reminded me of some things. I'll get that out of the way first. The whole exchange with Bill and recollecting her mother and sort of being the one to stand toe to toe with the monks, their mechanism, everything like that, powering into her brain and channeling out.
Was wild, man.
That really reminded me of Rings of Akhaten, where the Doctor is first confronting the foe of the episode and everything like that, and then Clara sort of picks up the 11th Doctor, and Clara sort of has that leaf, and she is sort of, the companion steps up to the plate and sort of usurps the saving of the day from the Doctor. I say usurps, but I mean, Bill wasn't usurping, Clara wasn't usurping. But, it's the very special companion role, sort of picking up the Doctor's slack. Unfortunately, the 12th Doctor had a hard time of it and almost had his brain fried.
Yeah, that was wicked when you saw, like, he was holding on to the dead monk or sleeping monk's head, and, like, he was like, and then he gets thrown
his eyes
backward.
go red and everything.
Oh my god, and he gets thrown backward. And then
is the perfect segue for the other thing I was reminded of, the classic Pyramids of Mars. Once again, I touched upon this going back a couple of episodes ago when the Monks trilogy began. The thing about that moment was when the Doctor gets flung back, it seems like he's been bested. He's lost. And it really harkened back to me, the fourth Doctor being, sort of in the presence of the menacing Sutekh, and Sutekh using like a ring of power or something like that. You have that green beam that emanates and surrounds the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker's Doctor, and he is well and truly terrified. The Doctor we rarely see going up against someone he doesn't feel like he can best. And that's what this reminded me of. When the Doctor gets flung back like that, when he's trying to go toe-to-toe with this mechanism and this, sleeping monk or whatever you want to call it, that is waking up through his involvement, his intervention, it fails miserably, and we have to have Bill step up to the plate because of that. But I was reminded of Pyramids of Mars in that moment when the Doctor lost, and he was literally brought to the ground by the foe that the monks represented. But of course, we're talking about the ending already, and there's a lot of other stuff that went on in this episode. Those were the two touchstones that I wanted to mention, though. We begin with the it's been 6 months since the last episode. Now, you did not see the last episode, but I told you all about it.
Yeah, I sort of kind of remember bits and pieces.
And basically, I said, all you need to know is, okay, we left off with Nardole. He might be dead. We don't know. But Bill has made a deal with the monks to save the Doctor's eyes and his life. And so we begin this, and it's 6 months into this rule over not only Earth in the modern day, but the entire history of Earth. All of Earth's history, all of the many continental, societal shifts and all that kind of stuff, they have insinuated themselves in our history books, going all the way back to the dawn of mankind.
Yeah, so nobody really knows what's true and what's false.
Yeah, and it's, as the Doctor basically says, it's the best way to, bring about a normalizing of that, so people will not stand up and revolt so easily if they feel like, well, this is the way it's always been anyway, so, I mean, this is our lives, The
part that really shocked me is when Bill and Nardole go into the room with the guards and the Doctor, and, like, he's like, guards, and then he acts like he's calling the monks. That was like, what?
Yeah, like he's perfectly aligned with them.
Like that was like, okay.
And I gotta say, I mean, we've been talking about these episodes, and it's been rife for debate in the Whovian community.
Yeah.
Is this going to be all a simulation? It began with a simulation that the monks had created of the history of the world to see what their foothold would be in trying to dominate us and everything. And the Doctor within that, that facsimile, reached out to his real self and brought his real self to be aware of the monks and their impending invasion. And so then the following episode was not a simulation, and this one they pull the same kind of editing tricks where you keep seeing that truth symbol flashing on the screen
in front of people's faces.
And this denoted in 2 episodes ago that it was all a simulation. You were seeing a simulation, and it would always interphase, and static would appear, so you could gauge that, okay, well, this is not really happening. On a subsequent viewing, you didn't know that when you were first watching it. So that you have that vibe in this episode, and I'm thinking the whole time, like, this, okay, what is this, The Matrix?
Yeah, right.
And because that you have the drab tones of all the clothes.
Yeah, like it's like kind of blah.
Muted colors, dark black, dark green, dark blue, and everything like that. The soldiers are the ones wearing the most, outstanding sort of colorized clothing and everything like that. I think it was like red or maroon, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, so are they in a simulation? Is somehow, are we going to find that all of this is fake and like all of humanity has been somehow succumbed to, if not a, like some process of the mind, some sort of, what would you call that? Like a psychic interference or something like that?
Yeah, I was trying to think of like what the term would be.
Yeah, or like a mechanism, like the machines had plugged in all of humanity in the back of their neck. They had a port and everything like that. And I was thinking as it's welling up to that idea that, okay, the Doctor's been broadcasting these messages, working aligned seemingly with the monks for 6 months. Bill is trying her best to find him, to get back to him and everything like that. And of course, Nardole finds her, and she's been having a conversation with her mother, as she apparently has taken to doing.
That was a kind of shock, too, because she's dead, but then you would see her talking to her, it's like, whoa.
And I was surprised that we actually saw her mother. Again, it goes back to that connectivity that Clara had with her mother, and again, reminding me of that part of Rings of Akaten where Clara has to step up to the plate, and it's her memories of her mother and that connectivity to her parents with the leaf and all that kind of stuff. I just thought it was interesting that we get a look at her mother. We get more time with her mother, even if it is only sort of a branching off of her own psyche, her own impressions of her. She never knew her, and so she's making it all up. But that foothold she has on this memory she's concocted is literally the saving grace, because it's so real. It's so flesh and blood. It's the one point of sanity in a world that's gone completely insane,
Yeah.
And I love, in an episode that was rife with political digs and jabs left, right, and center, I think it's kind of awesome that humanity, the heart and hearth, Mother Earth, mothers of all, is kind of the center point that brings us back to reality. I just think there's a great commentary there,
Yeah, he talked about how people are led and what they believe, and like if something seems true, they just go with it. 'Cause it's the easiest.
They don't really
to do.
bat an eye or give it a second thought.
It's the easiest thing to do. So.
Only people who choose to challenge what is an air quotes given are the ones who will succeed. But unfortunately, they're the ones who are also penultimately doomed, because the monks are slaughtering them. And Bill is just a special exception. She happens to have really good friends in Nardole and the Doctor. And so that, again, going back to what you were bringing up a few moments ago, that sequence where she's brought in and the doctor seemingly has turned on her.
Yeah.
The shock of he's calling the guards. He puts a call into the monks, air quotes, and he absolutely, when she tries to slip that coded message about the fish under the Thames from episodes back now, and he completely admits that's what it is, and Bill, forget it, Bill's lost. Bill is lost today.
You can see her; she's like breaking down. She doesn't know whether to be angered or
Pearl
sad
Mackey, man, just that performance.
Yeah.
I mean, from going from hopeful to the complete terror of the loss of hope, of your one through line being completely just thrown back in your face, and everything is even more horrifying than you thought. And you see every expression of that, from the denial to the frustration and the confusion to the rage. She picks the gun out of the guy's holster, and she's gonna kill the doctor.
Oh my
and
God.
her last nerve gets broken, and that gun goes off. And I think we're both sitting there watching it together. I'm sure we both stopped and looked at each other like, what the hell? And but I knew there was something that was going to come into the works that would have the doctor seemingly regenerate, because we saw clips of that in the trailers before Series 10 began. And that's been rife for debate, of course, because we know Capaldi is leaving as the 12th Doctor come Christmas. So everyone was kind of confused. This was, again, something that solidified the idea in my mind, okay, this is a simulation. This must be like The Matrix. And I said, when that happened, when he starts to regenerate, I said, okay, this is the way he gets out of it. He needed Bill to murder him inside the simulation.
And
I'm thinking that.
Thanking her and Nardle's all clapping. It's like, oh my God.
I was just like, I feel like I got hit upside the head with a 2x4.
That was in total shock. I mean,
and I'm glad they played it exactly how I was feeling. Like, Bill's just kind of like,
she's like,
wait, hold on. Wait, what? And I'm literally, I'm watching their mouth agape. I'm like, what? That was not anything I might have expected. I have to give them kudos that they didn't actually play into what the expectations were, that this is all a ruse, it's all a simulation, that it's all fake. This was real. This was genuinely happening. The doctor was genuinely buying his time, for 6 whole months, accruing a little army, a little pocket group
and he said he had to condition all the soldiers to
one by one, like to snap them out of it. And what a grueling process that must have been. And then they, with because of Bill's having that foothold, her being one of the rare instances where somebody can actually have a foothold to reality, they use her voice very literally in little Walkmans, cassette players. Like, how many viewers are like, what is that? What's all that tape coming out when the one guy gets shot? But I thought it was great that, her voice was literally the voice of reason, the voice of reality. And I can already hear the bemoaning of the Mary Sue companion that Clara was, and oh, we needed Bill's mind to save the day. Oh, it was Bill's mother and everything like that. That's going to be the downside for certain viewers who are going to be like, it's all happening again. The Clara thing's all happening again. People who hated her. I didn't. I liked her as a companion. I didn't like how her story kind of rounded out at the end. But it is kind of similar. It's cutting close to that, but I still appreciated that Bill, she was that voice of reason. She was the reason they could get into the inner sanctum to strike that blow in the first place against the monks, even if the doctor failed and she needed to step up in his place. It didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. And by the end, I am, like I say, I'm a little mixed about whether I love it or hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite love it.
I can't. I was trying to think just a minute ago about a way to describe it. Like, you don't love it, you don't hate it. It was neutral.
Yeah.
Like, it was okay, but it wasn't the greatest.
It was okay.
But they did have, like I said, a lot of shock moments where
Yeah.
it was like, whoa.
I think those were the most standout aspects were the shocks building up to the finale. And I would say the finale itself, the way it all rounded out, I don't want to say it all out and out floundered. It kind of petered out and okay, we're done. I didn't feel like...
It Peter Capaldi'd out.
Yes, very much so. And actually, okay, well, I was also thinking about that Series 1 two-parter, the Dr. Dances.
Yeah.
Because, again, like there's that theme of, what a boy wouldn't do to save the life of his mother or be reunited with his mother. And in this case, we see very truly and heartfully that the same goes for any daughter. Any daughter would save the life of their mother, or in this case, use the bond with that parent. Even if that parent's no longer in their lives, that would be their through line.
Think of the good things that they've been through and have that be the catalyst to bring.
Don't let your memories bog you down and hold you back. Let them be your through line to your future. Every step forward is you take whomever you have with you or you've lost.
Yeah.
You take them ever forward with you. And the Doctor knows that better than anybody, let me tell you. So, like, the last sort of aspect I can think of as far as what I want to talk about with this episode is Missy.
Oh, my God.
Missy, Michelle Gomez is a beast when she plays Missy, and we got hints of that more psychotic sort of Missy. But what the hell is going on with her?
I know, like, she was playing with the Doctor, like... It was like, okay, you're getting warmer, you're getting colder.
Yeah.
It's like, what the
But that was sort of the essence of the Missy we are more familiar with. What stood out to me was the Missy that has my mind on fire the way the Doctor's was when he had his hands on that mechanism. The Missy who seems to be genuinely trying to reform herself.
But see, this is the thing with Missy, you can never tell.
It's true, you can never tell. I said in a previous video that she would sucker me in and I'd be dead. Forget it. I would give her too many chances. Here's the thing. This is why I think this might be real. I think this could be legit. I don't think she's pulling punches anymore. I think she's being hardcore hardened to trying to better herself. The Doctor has appealed to her and she's warming to it little by little. This is why I think it's legitimate. Because the John Sim Master is going to come back. His appearance, we don't know where it's going to be. It's right around the corner. Why would a former incarnation of the Master who was completely bug nuts crazy, what would make his ferocity crop up again? Other than perchance a future incarnation of himself that wimped out, that began to be persuaded by the Doctor, reformed by the Doctor. There's nothing more corrupt to him than that. To lose himself, to actually lose to the Doctor in every instance of his very being, in every fiber of his being.
He just can't have.
So it's like, it almost makes sense that Missy, she realizes the error of her ways. She's mourning.
Yeah, she's trying to, make up for it,
repent for it. She's remembering names. She describes the horror of remembering all of the names of all of her victims, which she never gave a second thought to. She's shocking herself that she knows them. She sees more and more faces every day. She remembers more and more names every day of her victims. What more enticing to have a multi-master collision than for one of his selves to actually be losing to the Doctor?
Yeah.
And again, with every fiber of whom the Master is. That is insane. That's got to be the turning point. That's got to be the turning point that now we know why that other Master's coming back. He can't have this. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see something absolutely gobsmackingly outlandish, like the Master kills his future incarnation.
You know, they could play that role.
If it's even the former incarnation, it could be, you know, the Doctor can conceivably wear his old faces again. It could be a future incarnation of the Master that regenerates post Missy and goes back to John Sims' visage. We don't know. But yeah, that is the most outstanding element of the whole Missy aspect of the episode. And overall, I would give this episode a warm, it was good.
Yeah, it was okay.
Wasn't great, wasn't the best, didn't love it, but I wasn't, you know, I wasn't left lacking by the end. I just thought it was a passable episode. And unless you have anything further to add...
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, rock and roll. We're pretty much done here. And so we hope this video finds you well wherever you happen to be in the world. And yeah, we'll catch you all later.
Watch out for monks.
Peace.